First, I've seen magazines in Serbia with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I came with no money. I didn't speak English, but I was gonna go there to work hard. So 1989, I won Universe. 91, I turned professional and qualified for Olympia.
で、89年にユニバース優勝して、その翌年1990年はいろんな家庭の事情とか、お父さんが具合悪くなってユーゴスラビアに帰れなくちゃいけなくて出てなかったんだけども、91年にその時にプロカードを年の初めにもらって、でその時はまだユーゴスラビアお父さんといたんだけれども、サンホセプロの17日前にユーゴスラビアからアメリカに帰ってきて、そこでプロデビューを決めて17日間で調整して、そこで3位入賞。I remember Sonny Schmidt was second.
Yes.
I think Ron Love won.
Ron Love, exactly.
Yes. I remember too.
Wow, I was surprised because you didn't even come to America at the time.
I was reading
Yeah, magazine, yes.
そのコンテストは俺覚えてるんだけども、ロン・ラブっていう人が優勝して、トレーニングパートナー、Your training partner, Sonny Schmidt, came in second.
Yeah, at the time, Sonny was not my training partner.
Oh,
the first time, I mean, I came from Yugoslavia. This was the first contest, so I didn't know nobody. But Sonny Schmidt, as you know, is tremendous, symmetrical, very aesthetic and huge, and Ron Love as well. So I really didn't, even think I can place, because Albert Backless was there, John Brown, there was Tim Belknap, Steve Brisbois, Franco Santoriello. There was, deep lineup. There was this small guy, Fabio Boccianini, super ripped. So there was a tough contest, and I really didn't expect much, but I just went to experience. Same thing, like first time I went to European Championship to experience international competition. Now I'm going to experience professional.
Right. So it's interesting story you told me. You wasn't to your friend, and you didn't hear Wayne called you out.
Yes, back in the day, even when you used to compete, there was symmetry round and then muscularia. So in the symmetry round, they would call 3 guys, and they call my name, but nobody can pronounce milos, sarcev. So whatever he called, I was taking pictures with a friend of mine. I was next to Albert Backless, Tim Belknap, so he's been asked one time, and a second time, and a third time. So finally, competitor number 5, and so I realized, oh my God, it was shock for me, because I was minding my own business. I didn't even think I'm going to be called out, and I ended up winning symmetry round, and placing 3rd and qualified for Olympia. You have a great memory.
Yes. So still competing? Like any other show before?
I competed in every IBB show. Every show that was organized, 91, 92, I competed in all of them. So there was San Jose, Niagara Falls, Night of the Champions. There was Olympia and European Grand Prix Tour. But back at that time, it was not same weekend or day after day. It was 6 different weekends.
Right.
So we traveled for 6 weeks. We stayed in Italy for a week, in Germany for a week, in France, Denmark. So I competed in every show.
Wow. How did you train for that pro debut? What your physique look like looking back?
Well, when I look back, I was obviously not as big, right? Early 90s, 70s, Frank Zane won 3 times, 77, 78, 79, Mr. Olympia. Then in the 80s, there was Gaspari, Labrada, next to Lee Haney, but they were a little smaller, right? So in 1990s, started expanding with the crazy size of Dorian Yates. So honestly, when I look, could I qualify for Olympia in my first pro show? I didn't believe it, because I knew I don't have enough muscle to challenge these guys. I didn't have a good arms, my back was a little bit weaker. At that time also my calves were a little bit smaller, but for that time they like aesthetics and they award me. I didn't have a political connection. I'm from Yugoslavia, North America, and they gave me the 3rd place, so I maybe deserved it. So how did I train? I train always 2 times a day, 6 days a week. I always believe in a high volume. 80s, I didn't really do the giant sets. In 1992, 93, 94 for Olympia also, I was applying it, but only closer to competition, not all the time. When you came to my gym, and I was given opportunity to prepare you, and if within 1 year you can qualify for Olympia, right? I could get the bonus. I really had to think, like, I have to maximize everything for here. I have to maximize training, maximize nutrition, maximize everything. So, and that's why we choose those top secrets, secret mission, your DVDs. This is how we train. It's not fake. That was actually real. And first seminar we had in Japan in 2006, somebody asked, "Milos, do you always train like this?" And then I realized when they asked me that question, no. And then why I didn't? Because it was so hard.
So early 90s, give me example what you did, like okay, let's say 12 weeks out, 6 weeks out, and then a few weeks out. What kind of training you did?
Yeah, I always practice. 2 exercises would be heavy duty. I would do for each body part first to do progressive overload. So first act a little bit light. I would do a slow eccentric, slow concentric, right? Then I would add the weight, slow eccentric, again, slow concentric, to feel, to warm up properly. And then I would go slow, explosive, and I would go heavier until the failure in one exercise. And then I would do the second exercise for the same body part in that manner, but only 2 sets because you're already warm up. After that, initially I started with a superset or a drop set. But then my theory at the time was each time you train, you have to do better than previous. So if I did a superset, okay, what can I do? Maybe with more weight or more reps, or I can actually add a third exercise, 3 sets, and then 4 exercises, giant set. And really for a long time at the 90s, it would usually be like only 4 exercises until you. Right. So when you come, then I start doing more, 5 and 6 and 10 and everything. This metabolic stress type of training, pump, and muscle fatigue is accepted to be a great hypertrophy stimulants. Right. People always think either go heavy or go home. If you don't go heavy weight, you can't build. It's completely not true. And I've witnessed this back in the 90s with Mohammed Ben Aziza, John Brown, Thierry Pastel at the time. They were not necessarily going heavy, and they have an unbelievable physiques. So when I started doing this, I could see my body getting bigger. And then I realized, okay, it's not really just lifting, because let's face it, maybe people from the audience, they just think new training, I have to go to the gym, and I have to do the heavy bench and heavy squat and heavy. No. So I realized it's mind muscle connection, and going for that crazy pump and muscle fatigue.
Let me ask you, okay, let's say like with our chest. How did you train?
I would do. I always loved benches. Now I moved, but always do a very heavy bench, and then heavy either the second exercise flies or inclines. This is heavy. But then I would add cable cross, Smith machine, dips. So I would do like 4 different exercises. When we did the first chest workout, I can tell you exactly what we did. We did the cable crosses, and you go to the dips. After that, there would be incline flies. Then there would be a flat bench, and then we do the incline and decline. That was all in the Colosseum gym. So this was already like 6 different exercises. But back when I was doing, 4 exercises would be maximum. Yeah.
So you did bench press heavy. You did an incline or double fly.
Or double fly. One workout I would do inclines, and one I would do the dumbbell fly. Yeah.
That was a two exercise.
Two exercises, heavy duty.
Basic.
Mm-hmm.
Then a third exercise, you move to a superset or giant set.
Initially, like in 92, what would I do? I would do usually, flying and pressing movement as a superset, pre-exhaust. So if I would do, let's say cable incline flies, drop it, take the dumbbells and do the presses. But then after a while, like I said, I have to improve. So okay, I add the third exercise and fourth. And for me, it was always variety. I wouldn't repeat the same thing always. It had to be a little change. Maybe order, same thing that we did. Just change a little bit order. And sometimes I would want to go heavy, and sometimes I would just want to go crazy, squeeze, or super slow. Different variety, different angle, different grip, different width, stance. So just change it. I never believe in doing the same thing, because for me that's the same stimulation of the same fibers. I think it's more challenging if you make a different grip, different angle, different tempo. Maybe go 10 seconds down and then 9 seconds down. Yeah? It's not just to be different because I want to be different than anybody else, but it's like, okay, is this a new stimulation for my muscle fiber or no? So it's new. If I normally go just 4 seconds down, right? But now I do 10 seconds down, so I have to control eccentrically with the maximum muscle contraction. So this is why I started experimenting and adding. Even to this day, I like to add something new.
Okay, this is like a beginning of giant set.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to take a break because it's getting. I know it's. I want to ask you more. Evolve from giant set because I didn't even know. You never thought about more than 4 exercises until we started.
Yeah.
I didn't know it.
No,
I thought it was like 10 exercises even before.
No, I never did that much. There was a limitation to 4. But why did I do it? It's maybe for a different story now. Because when I now really, as a coach, I have to progressively make it harder for Hide, to make him better for the Mr. Olympia, right? And I'm sure you remember that one time we did with Dennis Wolf, you and Celia, we did 33 exercises for arms. Yes, for actually fit show, right. But they cut it so that you couldn't see it. But I remember this also, and I'm sure that you do. It's still on YouTube in Hiroshima, in Cham's gym. We did. That was officially first day of your 2007 preparation, and we did like 28 exercises, you and I.
今言ったような、どうしてその4種目から今のように10種目とか20種目とかのジャイアントセットに改革されていったのか改善されていったのかという話を次回のミロス・シャシブインタビューでまた公開したいと。今日は一応ねここで一回休憩ということで。Thank you, Milos.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.